Okay, today we're going to learn how to use the miter saw. And for all of you guys who have ever need to work on a project that requires wood cutting or things like that, the miter saw is a quick and easy way to do that. And so you'll be using this in a lot of your labs just because it's easy and quick. And so to start, we need to go over all the safety procedures for the miter saw. And for starters, you always need your safety glasses. If you have long hair, you always need to have it in a ponytail or pulled up in some way. And your hair can't be, or your clothing shouldn't be loose. You should always have long pants on and closed-toed shoes. Always, always, or you're not allowed in the lab. As for safety, specifically for the miter saw, just starting off, you always turn off the power and wait until the blade stops turning before making any adjustments on the radial arm saw. Also, be sure the material rests firmly against the fence before starting the saw. Always keep the guards in place at all times and support the work properly before turning on the saw. So with that, just make sure the wood is properly supported against the table and everything is sturdy. And then to begin starting, you'll just pull the saw slowly through the wood and grasp the handle firmly. And always make sure to lock the carriage after making each cut. And we'll go through this in the lab to show a little demonstration a lot easier. And today in lab, I'm going to be demonstrating on how to just cut a 5-foot board from a 2x4 that is originally 10 feet. So we'll start from there. Alright guys, now that we're in lab and we have all of our PPE correct, our safety glasses, our ponytail, our hair pulled out of the way, our closed-toed shoes, and our long pants, then we should be good to go. And remember that we were cutting 5 feet from a 10-foot 2x4. So we're first just going to start off by measuring our board, and all you'll need for this is a tape measure and pencil. And simple enough, we just go to 5 feet, and at the 5 foot you can make little marks. My pencil works. So I got my 5-foot mark, and we can be done with the tape measure. And then with the miter saw, we need to make sure a few things are in the right order. So what you want to do is you want your longer side of the board to be on against the fence. This is the fence right here. Your guards you want to keep in place. You don't want to move it around like that. They'll move around when you start to cut. So what we're first going to do is line up our markings on this line. And to make sure it's exact, you can grasp the handle away from the trigger and bring the saw down to get exactly where you want your cut. So measure it and then put the saw back up before you do that. Make sure your wood is pressed against the fence good. And another thing to remember is to always keep your hand near this fence, rather away from the blade. And what you're going to do, you're going to grasp the handle like very firm, and you're going to bring your saw down, and before you touch the wood, you're going to pull the trigger and just go slow. Don't freak out when it turns on. It's not going to jump out and bite you. It's pretty simple. You just pull the trigger and slowly go through the wood. So we'll just quickly do that. And then you don't want to move until your blade is completely stopped. And with the miter saw, they stop pretty quickly. Another thing to remember, that if you want to cut your wood at an angle, you're able to bring this up and move it around, and you can cut your wood at an angle. So if I was to cut it, it would be at an angle like that. And that's another thing to remember. So when you want a straight line, you always have to bring your thing, make sure that your line is at the 0 right here. So, right there at the 0. And then make sure that's down, and before moving or anything, make sure everything is clear and stopped, and you're able to grab your wood, and you got your 5-foot 2x4.